Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Crystal here, and if you haven't done so already, we're just getting started, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let me know who you are so that I can say hello. But hi guys, how are you guys doing today? Today I am doing okay. I just really miss doing this, so I wanted to do it again. So here I am. So today I decided to make a video about how to get out of a rut, or I don't know, how to get out of a rut. So I wanted to share with you guys that last month, yes, it's June. Anyway, last month in May, I went through a bit of a rut. Not the entire month, but maybe a couple weeks out of the month. And it was kind of weird and strange, but anyway, I just wanted to get out of that kind of rut, and also I just really wanted to kind of get out of the rut, get out of my head, and get back into doing the things that I love and the things that I wanted to do. And this is how I did it, and it's hard the first time, but the more times you do it, the easier it gets. So the more and more times that I get stuck, it gets faster for me to recognize it and faster for me to get out of it. So I just wanted to share with you guys what I do to get myself out of a rut. So the first thing that I probably do to get myself out of a rut is that I try to think of why, what happened, why did this happen, what were the warning signs, what really triggered this. And for me, that was pretty easy to figure out. It was really obvious, because as soon as I did a certain thing, is when I started to feel really down. So for me, it was really obvious at what point I was going insane. Not insane, but at what point I was getting down and what exactly triggered it. But when it first starts out, it's sometimes it's hard, and sometimes now it's hard, if it's not a specific thing, to tell what kind of got you in that rut and what kind of will help you get out of that rut. So in terms of that, I figured out what got me in the rut, and that may take you some time, but it's really important. It's really important for the future, so that you know those kind of warning signs before you get to that place. And when you get there, you know immediately when it happens, okay, I'm here and I need to get out of this. So that's my first tip, is to really try to think about what got you there. And honestly, that part might make you spiral a little bit more to begin with, just because you're thinking about that negative thing, and when you're in that mindset, you're probably kind of beating up on yourself about doing it, and so you're I should have known, and blah blah. But we're gonna get to the part where you are not there anymore. So the first thing, like I said, is to definitely know what got you there, because then you need to know how, if there's something that you can reverse, then you need to reverse it. Or if it's something that you can maybe avoid the next time, then try to avoid it. Or if you just know that it's something that you have to do, but if when you do it, you know that you're going to have this kind of response, and so then you put things in place in your life to, like, immediately after you do that thing to make you feel better. So my next tip is to be kind to yourself. So when I was in my rut, and whenever I get in a rut, and the first thing I need to do is recognize it, because you can't be kind to yourself before you recognize it, because you're being so mean to yourself. So after you recognize it, you have to be kind with yourself and be gentle with yourself, because beating yourself up about it will only make you dig deeper into whatever kind of downward spiral that you're going down. So you kind of have to, like, jumpstart yourself, and purposefully, whether you have to write it down or say it out loud to yourself. A lot of times I have to write it down, and for me also it is I've gotten a lot better at just, like, changing my thoughts, which takes some time. It's taking me years to get from having to say it out loud and writing it down to just being able to think it. But it's important for you to change your mind and be kind to yourself and be like, it's okay, I understand why you feel this way. You're not wrong. Your feelings that you're feeling right now are valid. But also, there's an extreme here, and some of these feelings that you're feeling, they are not real. It's important to recognize that some of those feelings, like, at a certain level, the way that you're feeling is valid, is very real. But at a certain level, you're over-exaggerating it. If you're truly in this place, then you're over-exaggerating just how negative the things are, and to realize that this is not real. This is not controlling my life. I am valid in having feelings and having negative feelings about this thing, but at some point I'm not doing this the right way, and it's becoming too big of a deal. So be kind to yourself. Let yourself know it's okay, and give yourself the time that you need to get out of it. So when I was in my rut, I would do things, which is the next step, is to do things that you know will make you happy, or you know that will turn you around, or spend time with the people that you know that will make you happy. So I definitely felt like, okay, I know what things I need to do to turn this around, but you have to be kind with yourself throughout the process. If you do one of those things and then you don't have immediate reaction, you can't just be like, oh, you're so stupid, and like, this is supposed to work, and blah blah blah. You just have to keep going and be kind to yourself and let it take time. Allow the time to pass and continue to do those things, and continue to be kind to yourself. That's the number one thing. You have to be nice to yourself. Even if you have those thoughts, those negative thoughts in your head, you have to say, no, that's not real. You are not that. You are fine. You're okay. You'll be okay. We're going to get through this. We, as in you, yourself, and you, I don't know. But it's also important to have friends and family and other people in your life that you know that you can go to, whether you're at the stage that you can talk about it and you can talk about how you feel, or if you're at the stage where you can't really talk about how you feel yet. Like, that's a lot. Talking about how you feel is just like a lot happening, but you are at the point where you have people in your life that you want to hang out with. So it's really important, while you are feeling great and wonderful, to make sure that the friends in your life, which I totally made a whole video about, how to have real friends, and I'll link that up in the cards about how to have real friends. So while you're feeling up, you want to make sure that you get real and good friends in your life, so that when you're feeling down, you can go to them, and if you want to talk to them, you can, and if you don't want to talk to them about that, you know that they'll be there. They'll understand that you're in this place and maybe you don't want to talk about it, and they respect that, but they will also take you out of that space and make you happy or take care of you in whatever capacity you need to be taken care of. And I've gotten to the point where I'm a lot more like open to like talking about it and getting it out there, and that took me like 2 or 3 years to get there, to even like talk about it openly, to get from a place where I would talk about it to maybe one person, to talking about it with 2 people, to now I'm just like, this is what it is, and like I'm feeling this way and I hate it. So if you can't do that, that's fine. It's really important though to still have those people in your life that maybe can sense it, and you can go around them and they make you laugh and they make you smile and they make you just kind of wake up out of it, and they'll be there, and they might know, but even if you don't say anything, and they might come over to your house and make sure that you're fine, and you know, it's important to make sure you have those people. So it is important to have those people in your life. You can't be alone, especially if you're in that place. You can't be alone in the sense that like you have no one around you. But it is also important at the same time. I spend a lot of time with people, including my family, and just flat out being like, this is not working for me. I spent a lot of time with family, I spent time with friends, and I also spent a lot of time by myself because I wasn't at a place, it's important to know if you're at this place or not, I wasn't at a place where I should not be alone at all. I was at a place where I could be alone, and I have such an important relationship that I value so much with myself that I needed to be alone and just kind of like be my own friend. So you have to be your own friend too. That comes in with the being kind to yourself. And so I would take myself to go do this, to go run an errand, or to go do whatever I needed to do. And I mean, I just did that for myself. So those are, for me, the biggest things that you can do to get yourself out of a rut, or to get yourself out of a down time or whatever. They are to, number one, figure out what the triggers are so that the next time you can, and be very clear with yourself. It took me a long time to realize I was like, why would I let myself get back there? But now I've realized you're going to, like, this is going to be a recurrent thing in your life, but the thing is that you need to know what triggers it so that it can be over as quick as possible. And I've gotten it down so much, from months to a couple of weeks. And so so it's really important to know what triggers you and to realize when you're going down there and what you need to do to get yourself out. The second thing is to be so kind to yourself, and it's really hard during that time, but as they say, fake it till you make it. Write it down, say it out loud to yourself in the mirror, whatever you need to do for your brain to switch over and say, yes, I'm okay. The third thing is to make sure that you take time. Let it take time. And if you do all of these things, each time it'll take less time. I get so excited every time it takes less time for me to recognize and less time for me to fix it and get back to myself. So that's super important, is to let it take time, and if you work through it each time, you will get faster and so much better at it. And the last thing is to make sure that you have those people in your life that you can either talk to about what's going on, but I also 100% understand when at first you don't understand and you can't really explain it to anyone, but make sure you have those friends that one day you could potentially tell, and those friends that might know that there's something off about you, and people that make you laugh and make you smile and that are your real true friends. And those are my real tips about how to get yourself out of a rut, how to get yourself out of a downtime. And like I said, in May I kind of went through that, and I realized that one huge trigger that's medically related that I think will really help me a whole lot, and it already has. So yes, so if you enjoyed this, if you have any other tips on how to get out of a rut, that's another thing too, is to always be willing to learn more about it. I'm always willing to learn more about it, so please, please, please tell me anything that you do down in the comments below, because I 100% want to know what you're doing, because I might be able to tweak that and incorporate it into my life, because you need to have a whole toolkit of a bunch of things that will help you, because the same thing doesn't work all the time. So that would be a huge help for me, for everyone else. And just remember that, love conquers all. Love for yourself, love for others, love for any and everything. If you do it with love, you're doing it the right way. So I love you guys, speaking of love, and I will see you next time. Bye.